your ball down, as I say, either ball. And we're going to start with the heel on the floor, and then put the ball behind the knuckles of your feet. So you're not on the knuckles of the feet, you're just trying to get that sense of sort of reaching away from you. You're probably immediately going to feel that through your shin and through your calf muscle. Now all I want you to do is try and relax your toes so that they curve towards the floor. So I've got quite, I'm sort of slightly hypermobile, so it kind of isn't that difficult for me. But I want you to feel that you're moving from the knuckles of the feet and you're just curving your foot forward without bending your knee. And you're just going to let that shape happen. And then I want you to start to bring your toes towards you and keep the ball of the foot on the ball and pull your toes up towards your shins. Now if you want to help yourself, you'd reach down to your toes and sort of try and pull them towards you. It's very, very, very hard to control that movement. And then once again, let your toes curve over the ball. Now remember, we're not holding the ball with your toes. And then draw the toes towards you and draw them up. And feel you're kind of vertical, your heels pushing into the floor. And then I want you just to roll the ball a little further towards your heel, so it's just coming more into the middle of the arch of your foot. And do the same thing. Reach down as if you're going to squash the ball with your foot. If it's a spiky ball, this is very uncomfortable. And then once again, draw your toes towards you, and then curve the toes down towards the floor. Right, now hold that position. So your foot is now parallel to the floor. I'll do this facing you. So you haven't tilted your foot in either direction. Your knee's facing forward. Just get a little bit of softness in your knee now. And I want you to roll the little toe towards the floor. So you're rolling onto the outer edge of your foot without your knee moving. Now I want you to do the same and see if you can roll towards the inner edge of your foot. So you're moving through your ankle. You're rocking through that ankle joint, rocking one way and rocking the other way. Remember, your toes are still trying to curve over the front of the foot, and the ball is just behind the knuckles of your foot. And then give it a little rest. And this time, bring the ball further back towards your heel. Now, obviously, if you've got tiny, dainty feet, which I don't have, this is much harder because there's, not so much space. But I want you to give a little pressure. You haven't got your toes or your heels on the floor now. A little bit of pressure down into that position. Now all look down at your feet and tell me, you can't tell me because I can't speak to you, but notice what happens to your toes. In this position, what often happens is the toes start to retract and get slightly crampy. I want you to try and relax them. And do the little rocking movement once again, side to side. Okay, what we're doing is we're trying to release all those little bones underneath the foot, the many, many bones that make up the foot. And then relax. Now take your ball right back so that it comes back just in front of your heel. So you're not on the heel, you're just in front of it. And I want you just to press down into that position. So if you're going to stand on the ball, might be very, very uncomfortable, and do the same thing. Just rocking side to side. Try not to let your knees wander too much. Remember, this is an ankle movement. And then take your foot off the ball. Give everything a little bit of a wiggle. Now we're going to do the hardest one, and certainly for people who've had their feet operated on. This is very difficult, but you don't have to do it. I want you to try and bring the ball onto the front part of your foot, so just your toes are wrapping over it, and you're going to try and press the knuckles of your feet down onto the ground. So actually your toes are going to be higher than the level of the foot. Press down. Good, and then release. Now when you look at toes, I want you to try and get a little bit of a gap between your toes so that they're not all clinging together. Press, just create that space in the fascia between the toes. And release again, just 2 more little presses down. Your toes are going to be spreading around the ball if you can. Last one, a little bit of pressure down. Good. Now roll the ball just behind the knuckles of your foot again. And you may or may not need something to hold on to if you're a little bit wobbly in your balance. Keep your heel down and take a stride forward with the other leg. So you're going into a slight, small lunge. And you're going to keep your heel down and just bend that front knee. Press your heel onto the floor, the back heel. Try and keep your knee straight and just hold that stretch. And you're just breathing in and out, and you just want to just let it stretch out your Achilles tendon. And then you give your leg a little bit of a shake out. And you stand on your feet, and I want you to try and notice any difference between your feet, whether you have more sensation under your foot than you did before. Okay, then you're going to start with the other foot. So I'm not using this one, if I can help it. I'm going to put the knuckles of my foot onto the ball, or just behind the knuckles of my foot, onto the ball, and I'm just going to do that prehensile curve of the toes over the front. So I'm trying to reach the floor with my toes. So just take the ball a little bit further back. So it's just, I've cut it in the wrong position, just behind the knuckles of your foot. And curve the foot. Keep the heel down, so you're trying to increase the curve in your arch, and then relax. So you've got pressure downwards and pressure back into the heel, and you're lifting the arch to reach forward. And 2 more. So press down, feel the arch lift, feel the metatarsals spread. The metatarsals are the long bones in your feet. And you just do that one more time. It has to be done really softly, really slowly really. And then lift your foot up, place it a little bit further back, press down, get your heel onto the floor, and then just rock. So you're rocking the outside edge towards the floor, and then you're rolling the inside edge towards the floor. Okay, so be careful you're not doing the knee movement. You want to be making that work through your ankle joint. Okay, you may even, like me, you may even want to just put your hand on your knee to minimize that movement. You know, that this can, even in people who haven't had any problems with their ankles that they can notice, or problems with their feet, your feet can still lock up. And if you have had operations on your feet, this gets much, much, much tighter. Okay, now I'm watching my toes start to shoot up. I want them to try and still hang, curve over the front. Then I'm going to move the ball to the middle of my arch. This time, the heels and the toes aren't on the floor. I'm still trying to relax my toes, and I'm just doing the little rock, inside edge, outside edge. Okay, so I can see you all really concentrating on your feet. This is what I want you to do. I want you to actually look at your feet. And you're actually rolling on the spot. Don't try and let the ball move, roll side to side. You're rolling over it. Okay, that's enough in that position. And then roll it just in front of your heel. Okay, press down. Notice what happens to your toes. There's often a reflex action as they start to want to spring up. And do that little rock again, side to side. Just get into especially the inside edge of your arch can get extremely tight. Sometimes a little bit painful. And then stop there. Okay, now you're going to have the one where you put your toes on the top. So you've got the ball slightly in front of the knuckles. You want to try and get a nice spread with your toes. So you've got some, if possible, a little bit of a gap in between your toes. And I want you just to roll, and actually I missed out a part of this exercise, so we maybe will do that on the other side. I want you to feel your toes stretch over the top of it. Now, interestingly, if you have anything like a bunion, you might feel a big stretch out through the big toe joint. And then just roll it back and forth. Just get that movement. And then a little rock side to side. We'll just play around with this foot. That movement side to side. Roll back and forth a little bit. Like that. And then take your foot away from the ball for a second. Bring the foot back so that you've got the ball just behind the knuckles of your foot, so your heel can go back. And then you're going to walk your other foot forward into a lunging position and just press into the heel of the back foot. If you need something to hold on to, grab hold of something, push back into your heel, hold, ow, and then bring yourself back. Right, I'll do the two that I missed out at the beginning. So just stand and feel your feet a little bit, feeling a little bit different. So with this one, you go back to having your toes on the ball, and if you want to watch a second, your toes spread out as if you've got, I don't know if you've ever put nail polish on your toes and you have those, what they call toe spacers that stick out and hold your toes apart, which is really, really uncomfortable. So this is not the most comfortable exercise. So you want to be having the other foot slightly forward, but this foot, I want you to roll the ball so that your toes are curving underneath the ball. So you're trying to hold the toes there, and then try and keep your toes curled under, and I want you to push your heel back towards the floor. So you're getting as much stretch in your knuckles as you can, and then you drop your heel back down. Okay? So you're getting that curve as if you're going to roll over. And if I went to the extreme, I'd be rolling right like that. But I want you just to get your toes wrapped around the ball, and I want you to try and just tuck your knuckles under, and then try and push your heel down until you get the stretch in your knuckle joints and your toe joints. It's very, very nasty and uncomfortable. Okay, but if you look at your feet now, they already have done some change. There's some change happening. So we're spreading those toes nicely. So there should be your little toe spacer in between the foot, in between the toes rather. Nice width of your foot. If there's anything that's too painful, obviously you stop. You're going to try and keep the ball, as if you're trying to hold the ball with your toes. Roll the first joint of your toes under, and then just try and lower your heel towards the floor. Okay, for some of you that might be enough into this position. If you can get your heel all the way down, even better. Hold and then release. Okay, once again, toes wrap, try and keep the space. Roll, nails under or knuckle under, heel back. Try and reach, feel the stretch in your knuckle joints, and release. Good. I think that's enough of those. Okay, so just give your feet a little wiggle. You might notice that if you just walk through your feet, there's a little bit more spring in your step. I'd like you to take hold of your band. Right, so the first thing we're going to do, and I haven't ever done this with any of you, so this is, don't feel stupid if you don't know what on earth I'm doing, but I would like you to double the band like that, any band, but you do want a bit of resistance, so if you're using the yellow band, use 2 yellow bands together. Then you're going to hold the band so that you hold one end, and you just put your hand through like that. Ideally it would be if we had a loop, but we haven't. So that these 2 bits actually are slightly separate. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that behind my head, so it's not together there, it's got the loop separate, so I've got the base of my skull just supported, the band separate, and a little bit of resistance with my arms. So I'm going to have my elbows up like that, and I'm resisting with my arms. All right? So I think you can all see here. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is just resist with your arms, and I want you to push your head backwards into the band as if you're trying to pull your chin towards your throat. And you're pushing backwards until you can feel the back of your neck firing up. Don't drop your head, but just push backwards. Resist with the arms, pull the shoulders down, and then release the head. So as if you're pushing your head backwards against a wall. You're pushing back, but you are the wall, and your shoulders are working as you push backwards. And release. You're going to do 8 more. So push back and release. Push back and release. 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't let the arms drop. 7, 8, and then just have a rest. Lift your arms up. Your shoulders will have been working, your rotated cuff muscles. Give everything a little bit of a roll rather. Let your elbows relax. Then you're going to put the band back. Okay, so supporting your head, just resist with your elbows a little bit. And now once again, drop your chin down in towards your throat. Then I want you to turn your head to look towards your right armpit. Then you're going to lift the chin up, turn the head back to center and turn it to the other side and drop the chin down. While the chin's dropped, turn it to the opposite side, lift your chin up, rotate it to center. Your elbows and your arms will be working really hard. Other side, turn the head, drop the chin, turn the head to the other side, lift it up and center. One more. So turning, dropping, rotating, sorry, I'm going the wrong way, rotating, lifting, center. Now lift your arms right up, you'll need a long stretch after that. Reach to the ceiling and then lower your arms, don't lose your band. Lovely, just give everything a little bit of a roll. We're going to lift the arms up for our last exercise like that. Now imagine your band and your head were pressed against a wall, so you don't want the bit of the band that's behind your head to move. Okay, so that's your resistance through your arms, your head rather, and your neck. Now all I want you to do is circle through the elbows. So you're lifting up, you want to push back with your head, circle your elbows down, bring them forward to parallel, lift them up and out, and drop them down and squeeze them together. Now you want to kind of move your hands as little as possible. They are going to move a little bit, but just think of the elbows circling and the head pushing back against your band. All right, now lift the elbows out and wide, bring them towards each other, keep pushing back with your head, and do 3 more. So reach out, circle, forward. Okay? Try not to keep the elbows bent and the hands in the same position. Remember the hand palms are facing forward. Well done. Now lift your arms up and lower your arms all the way down. Whoa. Okay, so that's for your triceps. Helen, it looks like your camera's freezing every now and again. I want you now to make your band longer. Okay, so if you look at my band, it's about at least double the width of my hips, about there. Right, so nice and long and nice and floppy. So we're going to stretch our shoulders now. We're going to bring the band up to this height, and then lift it up over your head towards the ceiling, and then pull the band wider and pull it back behind your body and lower it. Okay. So let's just do that simple movement. Any old how, any way you can bring your band up and lower it down. Okay, so this, anyone who has a yellow band, just use one yellow band. If you've only got the pink one, just don't make it too tight. Bring it up, lower it down. Right, focus on what's happening to your rib cage in the front when you do that. You'll notice, normally when you take your arms back, your ribs push forward, your back arches. Just notice that. You don't need to do anything. Don't force the ribs to go forward, but I want you to just do this naturally. Lower down. Okay, and then in a minute, when we bring our arms forward again, we're going to do it unnaturally. We're not going to let the ribs pop forward. Okay, we're going to try not to anyway. So we've got that sense of our tummies working more, so that when we bring our arms up, it's much harder and the arms have to do the work. Whoops, the arms have to stretch. Okay, so when we lift up the arms, we're pulling the ribs down, and we've got much more movement through the arms themselves. Okay, so make sure you don't let go of your band. Reach up, pull the ribs down, make sure this is your arm muscles working. You don't have to do it as much as me, you could just bring the arms back a little bit. And then lift up. And let your arms relax now, girls. Roll your spine down, you're going to go down towards the floor. Just allow your band to drop towards the floor. Let your arms hang. Give your neck a little bit of a shake. And then you're going to roll your spine all the way up. Good. Now, we're going to do a diagonal stretch. So I want you to take your band like that, so that you're pulling the band sort of slightly away from you. And then I want you to take it around your back. Now at this point, one hand is going down and the other is up. Now I want you to swap. And then bring that hand back and bring it forward. Okay, I'll do that again. So you're finding your diagonal. This hand, bottom hand isn't moving. Top hand is going to circle behind your head. Now insert that lower hand behind your back. Bring the top hand back to parallel. Start to lift up the other arm and bring that hand back and reach out on the other diagonal. Let's do that this way. So swap arms, this arm reaches. Pull down that arm, circle it past your head. Take the other hand back. Circle it back. Now bring both arms up. Bring that arm down. Circle it back. And onto the diagonal. Good. Lift up your arms again. And just stretch upwards towards the ceiling. And then lower your arms once again. We're just going to do a roll down towards the floor. So let your head and neck go. Roll your spine down, and at the bottom, I want you just to let go of your band, just let it drop down towards the floor. Pull up your tummy and gently circle your arms in opposite directions. Just relax your shoulders now, and then roll your spine all the way back up to the top. Let your shoulder blades drop, and you should just be able to float your very heavy arms up. Grasp one wrist with the other hand and pull yourself over into a gentle side bend. And then swap sides. Pull yourself over into a gentle side bend and swap sides. Last two, just be soft and gentle with yourself. Let your shoulders slide up. And then bring yourself back to your central position and gently lower your arms, ready to come onto your mat. Right, so if you could maybe, I don't know if we're going to use these or not, they're very useful for some exercises and for some people. So keep your ball handy, see how much time we've got. Lie yourself down on the mat. You will need your band in a minute. Okay, so you're just lying yourselves down, centering yourself, and relaxing your shoulders, and finding that weight into your tailbone. And I want you to lengthen out the back of your neck. And then as you breathe out, just a small pelvic curl. Drag your tailbone out from underneath you. And imagine your tailbone is sort of reaching between your heels. Not curling too deeply, but just reaching between your heels so you feel your lower back's pulling towards the floor and your tummy has sunk downwards deeply towards your spine. And then you're going to uncurl and roll onto that tailbone again. So once again, feel your tummy drop. Feel your tail reaching forward and roll out. So you don't really want to try and kind of jam your tail underneath you so much as lengthen the spaces between your lumbar vertebrae. So you want to feel that there's a bit of traction, that someone's tied a rope onto your tailbone and is pulling that between your knees. So you're going to pull that tailbone up from the floor and reach it forward between your knees at the top when you roll higher. Then we're just going to breathe in and reach our arms back and then lower yourself down, bone at a time, lengthening down to the floor and uncurl. Get that movement going, so just rolling up now. Think of the tail being pulled forward between your knees and then reach back with your arms and roll down with your spine. So could you focus on the bones now? Think about the bones of your spine. Starting with the tail that just tilts away from the floor. The tail being pulled, that bone being pulled forward. Then it lifts up the bones of the pelvis and then one by one the bones of the spine come up. And they're all pretty much in a long line from your tail all the way down to about the middle of your shoulder blades, and they're being tractioned forward. If you leave that long enough and you push hard enough with your knees, you should actually feel the lengthening of your spine and the evening out of any tightness in your lower back muscles. Okay, we're going to stay there, and from here keep your arms down, drop your chest a little bit and just see if you can lift your hips up a little bit higher. And from here we're going to push the right knee a little bit further forward so the left hip dips down and then you swap. So if you imagine now that the rope attached to your tailbone has been attached instead, one on either knee, and one knee is being pulled forward and the other hip drops back. And then swap so you feel your hips tilting alternately. Little tilts, little tilts. Find the center, everybody. Roll down another couple of vertebrae, so you're probably coming down to about the middle of your shoulder blades or the bottom of your shoulder blades, and then do that again. So reaching away. One knee forward, the other comes back a little bit, and your hips are tilting alternately. And what you're going to find is one glute switches on, the other one switches off. Your spine is being beautifully rotated to give it a little bit more movement. And then keep the hip shift going and just gently roll yourself all the way down. So you're kind of wiggling down. And then at the bottom, just let your tailbone drop all the way down. Okay, now everybody get your band, whichever band you like. You're going to fold it back again like that. And you're going to put the head back into it like it was in the first exercise. And you're holding either end. So if you want to watch me, I'll just do a little demonstration to start off with. Your elbows are lifted. If you glanced out of the corner of your eyes, you'd see your elbows. Your hands are back in line with your elbows. And I want you just to hover your head off the floor and then push your head back slightly into the band. So you also start to feel your shoulders working. And then pull your shoulder blades down underneath you. All right, now drop your eye line so you're looking forward. And as you breathe out, I want you to imagine that your elbows are pulling you forward as you come forward, but at the same time you're pushing your head back slightly, not too much. And then roll your spine down, bring your head onto the floor and release the tension. Okay, so don't pull too hard. You've just got your shoulders pulled down, your head pushing back slightly. As you breathe out, feel your elbows tilt, so they're kind of bringing you up. Your elbows are keeping in line with your hands, and then roll your spine down and release. Okay, once again, head pushes back. Promise you this does make your arms work. Can you all please make sure your wrists aren't bending? So imagine you're going to punch somebody. You've got a nice strong wrist, a nice strong fist. And back. 2 more. Breathe out. Forward as you curl. Push your head back slightly. You're not coming out too far. Tailbone down. And then roll back. Last one. Breathing out. Nice curve forward. Hold that position. And roll your spine back. And just let your arms drop out a little bit. Get your wrists to relax if they're uncomfortable. Now we're going to come up and we're going to do an oblique movement. We're going to go from left shoulder blade to right shoulder blade. So you're going to curl forward. And I always think this is a bit like riding a bicycle or riding a motorbike. Your hands are at a fixed distance. And you're going to roll towards your left shoulder blade until your left elbow comes towards the floor. Then keep the height, roll towards the other side, keep the height and roll back down onto the floor, and allow your arms to drop back. Okay, so where I'm feeling that in actual fact is kind of in my forearms and down into my shoulders, into my armpits. Can you try and make that work so that you feel the armpits working? Okay, so that implies that your shoulder blades are pulled well down, your shoulders are pulled away from your ears. Okay, let's go to the opposite side first this time. So we're rotating just across the back of our shoulders and then centering. And then rotating. Keep the arms in that fixed position. And we're going to do 2 more. Rotate. And then we're going to the last side. And then we're coming back to center. Then we're going to roll down and take your head away from the band. And just give your arms a little bit of a rest. Because now, and I would like you to take, if you've got yellow bands, put both bands around. If you've got a heavier band, use the heavier band. You're going to tie your legs together. So bring your knees so they touch. And I suggest you make a bow rather than a knot, otherwise you may not come out of this. Make a bow with your band there so it's not sloppy. It's actually kind of it's going to resist you. Okay? Then what I want you to do is, keeping your feet together, I want you to just pull the left leg away from the right leg. Now, you're going to roll onto the edge of the foot, but you're going to resist with the opposite leg. And you're going to feel your hip slightly on that leg. And then just bring it back to center. Let's do that 3 times on one side. So resisting with one leg, find the edge of the other foot and pull the knee open and slowly bring it back to center. So you feel your tummy working a little bit. And just do 2 more. I'm putting my hands here. I want you to feel that deep tummy working. Don't try and pull the leg all the way to the floor. It's just coming out about halfway. And if you kind of felt around the top of the leg, you should feel your hip muscles working. Okay, other side for 4, 3, 2. The other thing you'll notice is the band seems to be getting a bit looser. 1, and bring yourself back to center. Okay, now, because the band's probably stretched a little bit, just take your feet a little bit further apart. So about 5 inches apart. press into your arms and just lift your bottom a couple of inches off the ground. Now, if you don't like this position, what you can do is just put your ball under your bottom. But if you want to really work your hips, you're going to keep your bottom hovering a fist height off the floor, and you're going to pull the knee out again. And we're going to do 4 in this position. 3, 2, 1. Swap to the other side. 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're not coming down. You're going to do both legs at the same time. Out to the side. 2, 3, 4, and then bring your legs back together or towards each other. Just lower your hips all the way down. Alright. Okay, so now lifting the hips up again. You may need to make fists to support you, or else just press into your arms. From here, I want you to stand on your hips and reach out one leg. So we're going to have that leg hovering off the ground, and we're pulling out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold the position slightly away from the other leg and circle it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Other direction. 2, 3, and 4. Bend your knee, lower your foot all the way back down again. And roll or lower your hip back onto the ground. Okay, other side. So I'll swap sides so you can see. You're going to lift your hips up a little bit and reach out with the other leg. Try and keep your knees level so the leg doesn't dip down. And you're pulling apart for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now circle. We've got 8. 4 in each direction. 3, 4. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bend your knee. Lower your foot down. Lower your hips all the way down. Right, we've got back onto the first leg. We've given it a little bit of a rest for the next one. Going to lift your hips up. Please don't lift your hips too high. You do just want them a fist height off the ground. And be careful you don't push your ribs up. Keep the ribs down as well. Okay, so this leg reaches up. Now, this is a little harder. We're going to pull the leg up and we're going to flex and lower it down. So we're pointing and lifting, flexing and lowering, giving ourselves a bit of resistance with that band and down, and also make sure you've got a little bit of a pull outwards with the band while you do that. Last one, bring your leg up. Now, keeping a soft point, I want you to see if you can lift the hip a little higher and bring it across, and then bring the leg back. So actually your hip's lifting you. You're lifting the hip so the leg goes slightly at an angle, and you're bringing it back. 2 more. So up and across, and back. Bail out at any stage if you need to, and then lower your foot down. Woo. Lower your hip down. Okay. Other side. Let's keep the best ones till last. Right. So. Make sure you've got that hip not too high, breastbone down, reach out, and we're lifting up, and we're just coming up into our shoulder bridge and lowering. The leg only goes to the height of the other leg. Point and lift, flex and lower, point and lift, flex and lower. Last 2, point and lift, flex and lower. Now point and lift, lower in the point, so your hips are even. And then think of your hip lifting to bring your leg back, and then back to parallel. So up and over, that hip is lifting. Don't swing your leg over, bring your hip up to bring your leg over. 2 more, up and down. Last one, up, and then bring yourself back and lower your foot all the way down. Roll your spine down. Undo your bow. Okay, so we're going to do our glute stretch however we want to. I would just cross your one leg over the other leg. And you all know what you're going to do for glute stretches. Draw your knees in towards you, breathing out. Squeezing tightly like a big bear hug till you feel the stretch in your hip. And then just swap the legs over. So it's like a big cross, one above the other. Hug in. I'm going to go back to that first leg. Alright, now I'm going to go back to number one, and obviously miss them out if you need to. Put one hand on each knee. So it's obviously hand to opposite knee. Then, if you can, you're going to walk your hands down a little further down your shins, and I want you to try and pull your legs apart slightly till you get a little deeper stretch. Now, how far you bring your hands down your shins is up to you, but you may even have to take them to your ankles to get a proper stretch. But just hold that stretch. Deep, deep, deep stretch into your glutes. Then cross over onto the outside. You can start with hands on knees or hands on shins and just pull those two bits apart. Hold. And then take your legs back. Just give everything a little bit of a shake across your pelvis. Turn yourself around or up, come up to sitting. You're going to be putting your band underneath your feet. Now this is where you do need a stronger band, so as I say, a pink band or 2 yellow bands. Your knees bent, heels are, I don't know, 2 feet away from your sitting bones. And I would do what I call a ski pole grip, where you have your hands grasping the band so that the band comes out through your thumbs and index fingers. So you can just hold the band quite tightly. But I want you to first drop your shoulders. And we're going to curl our tailbones underneath us. Now, this is another place where the ball could be quite useful. If you don't want to go the whole way back to the floor, you can pop the ball back behind you and just roll onto the ball. Okay? But I'm going to leave it there for a minute. So, dropping your shoulders, I want you to curl your tailbone underneath you and just round your lower back. Good. Now, normally when we rolled up, if I cued you, I would cue you to keep your arms straight. All right? But instead of that, I want you to pull your elbows back. So as if you're rowing, you're pulling the oars back. Then I want you to scoop into your tummy and bring your head forward. And then I want you to straighten your arms a bit and roll up. So we're adding that tricep work into this exercise. So as you breathe out, you're rolling back. Then you pull back with the arms. So you're feeling the backs of the arms working. Then resist with the arms and scoop the tummy and roll your spine up. 2 more of those before we add to it. So breathe out as you roll back. Inhale as you reach back. Exhale as you scoop the tummy. Inhale, restack. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, pull back. Exhale, scoop. Inhale, reach. Okay, we're going to stay back this time and we're going to do 8 pumps of the arms. So breathe out as you roll back. Pull your tummy button in and pull back. 2, 3, 4. Resist with your tummy. 6, 7, 8. And forward and restack your spine. Okay, maybe make your band a little weeny bit longer this time, but still, you want to be able to support yourself. You're going to roll back, keeping your, this is my right arm, the one furthest from the screen, absolutely still, and just pull the other elbow back and rotate to look back over your shoulder. and bring it forward. We're going to do 3 on that arm. So pull back, let your body rotate, pull in your tummy, tuck your tail under you. And 2, 3, 4. Remember the other side is staying solid. And then bring your elbow forward and you're going to roll forward and restack your spine. Lovely. And other side. So rolling back, pull back, look to the elbow. 2, 3, 4, forward, nod your head forward, and roll your spine all the way up. Okay, from here, straighten your legs, make your band considerably longer. So if you want to have your ball to support you, pop it behind your, at the back, so that you can only roll onto that. Long straight arms, push your heels away and see if you can roll down. Slowly pushing the backs of your legs into the floor, roll all the way down. Okay guys, now the important part here, we're down. Our arms are straight by our sides. You're not trying to pull yourself up with your arms. You're already trying to tilt your lower back into the floor. Now, use your glutes, tuck your tail under you. Then bring your head forward. Now, think of the backs of your legs pressing as hard as possible into the mat. Then keep all that pressure into the mat as you roll forward and gently stack your spine. Let's do that one more time, just once. So you're pushing out into your band, you're rolling your spine into the floor, looking at your tummy all the time until you bring your head down. Then bring your head forward, tilt your pelvis, bring your lower back into the floor, allow the band to bring you forward and roll your spine up. Right, now take your one foot out of the band, keep it on the ground next to the other foot and see if you can roll down. But now we're going to lift the leg off the ground. You're going to roll down, 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 down and bring your leg up to the ceiling. Right, bring your elbows down. Circle your leg out to the side for 4 circles. Keep the elbows punched into the floor and see about drawing a circle with your little toe. So up towards you, out to the side and back. All right, we're going to go other direction. So bring the leg slightly across the other one. Bring it down, out, around and up. 2, 3, 4. Can you bring your leg back? Nod your head forward. Start to lower your leg and it will roll you up into a sitting position. Put both feet in the band. Take the other leg out and pressing your legs down, roll your spine down. You can lift your leg up and circle. So you're going out. 2. And take your leg quite far out to the side. I've got a wall in the way, but as far as you wish, as long as the hip doesn't move. And then other direction. 2, 3, 4. Well done. And now I'd like you to lift your first leg and bring it into the band. So you've got both legs in the band now. Okay, I'm going to give you an option. If you find this difficult, you can put your bottom on a ball like that. Okay, so if your hamstrings are really tight and you find getting your legs into that right angle really, really difficult, you can pop your bottom, bring your bottom up a little bit higher. That just makes it a bit easier. Otherwise, I want you to bend your knees, and we're going to do leg work now. I want you to bend your knees right into your tummy. You definitely need a strong band or the 2 yellow bands. I would like you to cross your band or bands over so that you've got a cross in front of your feet. And the band can more or less, or the bands can cross just between your knees. Okay? Your feet are slightly higher than your knees, and the edges of your feet are together, and the soles of your feet are pushing away. And your elbows are pushing hard into the floor. Now pull in your tummy, and as you breathe out, I want you to start to push your legs away. And as you breathe in, just fold them back. Your knees just part, so there's a little bit of space for the band. Reach out. Now you've done lots of lovely work on that ball at the beginning of class, so see if you can keep a slight gap between your toes as you reach out. You're not gripping the band with your toes, and you're not hunching them together. Trying to get that work into the legs. So when you push your band out, just stop, guys, everybody reach, and try and pull your kneecaps up. Try and get that extra bit of strength in your thighs. Pull your tummy down and breathe in and bend. So you're trying to go to your full straight leg. Reach up, give a push into that tight band. Inhale back. Last one. Reach out. Good. And then bring your legs back to the same position. Okay, so your band's the same tight tension. I want you to keep your heels together and try and pull your toes apart. Now you're actually having to pull the band wider, and you're having to try and keep it there. And now let your legs part in a froggy position. Keeping the heels touching and the toes apart, push out until your band is straight and your knees come towards each other. Now try and straighten your knees. Your feet will be slightly flexed. Pull your band back again. Okay, squeeze your heels together. Push out until your knees straighten. Reach into the band. Pull your tummy down, keep your back flat. Inhale back. Exhale, reach. Inhale back. Two more. Exhale, reach. Inhale back. Last one. Exhale, reach. Straight, straight, straight. Inhale all the way back. Just let your legs have a rest a second. Right, now straighten your legs up towards the ceiling. Keep the tension into the bands. You want your elbows to be pushing down. Now, from here, your knees will be above your hips. Your tailbone will be down. And I want you to see if you can keep your knees in position, but bend them. Good. Let your feet come down just past your knees, as if you're going to bring your heels towards the back of your legs. Pull your tummy really, really tight. What you're going to do is straighten your legs and swing them back up to the ceiling. So you're pushing out and you're swinging up. Okay, keep the knees where they are, bend, let your heels drop. Pull your tummy really tight, push out and then swing up. Okay, so the lower you drop your heels, the harder this is going to be. So you could just keep them there if you want to, otherwise drop them. Pull the tummy tight, reach and swing up. Last one. Bend, let your heels go down. Push out, engage your abs. Bring your legs all the way up. Now hold that position, uncross your band. Just drop your heels, your elbows down and pull your toes towards you and push your heels up towards the ceiling. And try and keep your knees straight into a hamstring stretch. Tailbone nice and heavy. And then one at a time. Take your feet out. Rock yourselves up into a mermaid position. Okay, so anyone with hip issues, Michelle, you may want to sit on some blocks to lift you up a little bit higher, or you may want to sit like this. All right, so anyone with hip issues, and this is really uncomfortable, you can put the ball under your knee to give you a bit of support. Take that out the way. But what I'd like you to do, and we're going to do, it's a sort of a mermaid, it's not exactly like a mermaid, is make your band longish, and if you've got the yellow bands, you're lucky, they are much more forgiving, so use a yellow band. Take that hand and just either hold your shin or press it onto the floor. I would actually just hold your shin. Right, the other arm is reaching up to the ceiling. Right, it depends how flexible you are in your arms. But I want you to bend your elbows if you're kind of nuzzling your head against your arm. Hold there, and then reach up with the arm. Good. Now, hold the band, but don't hold your leg, and bring the arms up. And then we're going into our mermaid stretch. You're going to keep this arm there, you're going to pull the other arm down. Now keep reaching up. You'll feel your chest wall working. Breathe in, bring your hand down, and bring yourself back over. All right, now start to lift. Reach now. This is where the tummy works. You're going to bring both of them up. Then you're going over to the other side. You're going to bend the elbow and just allow that chest wall to stretch. Breathe in. You only got one more. So reach up, stretch. That's it. Lift this arm. Now this arm's coming to the ceiling, and then that arm is pulling the band down. You're trying to keep as upright as possible. Then you go over. Last one. Up, and you're going to end up with your arms both up, reaching. Lower your arms forward. Do you feel that really strong opening of your ribs? See what the other side feels like. Okay, so adjust your band, lift your arm up, elbow bent as if you kind of got your hand wrapping around your other ear, opening your chest now. Try not to arch the ribs forward, but just pull up, breathe in. Then let this arm come up. Then try not to move your body, bring your arm down, then lean over into your side bend. Pull the arm up against that resistance. Now you're going to use your tummy to bring yourself up, over, once again, side bend, and pull, reach, and arms come over. Try not to arch your back. Sit on your sitting bones, guys. Put your tummy in. Reach, bring that elbow back. Last one. So tummy's really important. You don't want any arching. Pull up, and then end up with your arms up and lower them down. Good. Just give your shoulders a roll. Right, final one. You're just going to put the band across your mat. Right, so that way. You try and make it sort of evenish. And you're going to lie on your front, but you want the band just on the sort of front of the bra strap line. Okay? And we're going to have our hands holding band. So this bit of your band is pinned down by your chest or just below your boobs on the ribs. All right, start with the forehead down. Hold your band, lift your head up, and then shrug your shoulders. So your legs are pressing away. You're going to shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. You're going to roll them back. Now, what I want you to think about when you're doing this is that you've got to try and keep that band pushed down. You're not going to lift off it. You're going to press the band down, send your breastbone forward, and then all you're going to do is pull the band up like that, but you're pressing down onto the band with the bottom of your shoulders, or your breastbone, and then you're lowering down. Okay, so this is where you may need to shorten your band or lengthen it. I'm going to make mine a little bit shorter. So I'm coming forward and up, just rolling my shoulders back. I'm pulling the band, pushing my shoulder blades down, and then I'm lifting my arms up, keeping that sense of pressing down. And from here I'm going to do 5 little circles, up rather than out. 4, 5, just 5. Lower your arms down and roll your spine all the way down. Right, so we've got 5 circles in the other direction now. So coming up, roll the shoulders back, pin down, 5 circles in the other direction, whatever that other direction was. Shoulder blades pulled down, body just the tiniest chin tucked in. And now reach back and roll your spine all the way back. So you're not coming up very high for this exercise. We've got one more variation. So you're lifting your head and neck, rolling your shoulders back. Right, I'd like you to lift your arms. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated. I want you to imagine your arms are lifted, your chest is down, you know, not too high, but your elbows are squeezing towards each other across your back. Really weird feeling. Now, I want you to keep the elbows high and bend them. Then straighten them, pull the arms up. So as you bend your elbows, imagine you're trying to squeeze your elbows towards each other across your back, and then pull the band to straight. So your elbows bend and your elbows straighten. Last two. Elbows bend. This is tricep work again. Straighten. Last one. Push out and then lower your arms. And just bring your arms into a parallel position. Give your hips a wiggle. And there's a huge relief to our backs. We're coming into a swan, just lifting your head. Come onto your elbows. You can just go to elbow swan if you want to, or push up. Reaching out with your legs, lifting your chest. And then roll your spine down. Bend your elbows and bring your head down. Do that one more time. So the head and the neck come up. You're reaching your breastbone forward and up. Exhale, roll your spine down. And bring the head down. Done. Just sit back against your heels. Ooh. Everything a wiggle. Big sigh of relief. And then bring yourselves up into standing. So, roll the shoulders. Roll down. I'm not even going to cue you. I don't want you to do anything. I want you just to go towards the floor and then roll back up again into standing. Everything should be so well worked. Should just slide back into position.